morning and welcome. This is Sunrise Daily. I'm Ayo Makinde.
Rise and shine. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning here in Lagos, Nigeria's commercial capital. I'm Kayode Okikelu and you're welcome. Let's start your day off the right way. So many things happening as I speak to you right now. So let's try to review things that have happened as we, of course, look forward into things to expect today. We're talking about the papers review. And to do that with us, we're joined by Mr. Steve Nwosu, who is the MD and editor-in-chief. The Nigerian Express joins us live in our Lagos studio. It's good to have you.
Nice to be here. Good morning, guys.
It's been a while,
Quite
actually.
an age.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's good to see you.
We've been in the trenches.
Okay.
Which of them?
The trenches of life, struggling for Nigeria.
You know, it's interesting how that word is used now. Different people. You see billionaires say we've been in the trenches as well, but hey,
I would love to be
in that kind of trenches.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into
Mine
the
wrote
trenches of the dailies, shall we?
Yeah.
We're starting off with the Guardian newspaper, Mr. Nwosu. Well, it is what it is. Quarter to 2023, as we say, so you'd expect majority of the stories to maybe focus on the agitations, the permutations. So this is what you find on the front page of the Guardian newspaper today. North plots to retain power. Afenifere Pandef, others allege. And you have riders right there. Obi, Umahi, Ngige, Okorocha, Anyim, others meet over zoning. Nigeria must give Southeast a chance, says Clark. Adebanjo, APC dividing South to retain power in North. Only equity, justice will save Nigeria. Nzuko Umunna. What do you make of this, really?
Well, Pande saying the North is scheming to retain power is a legitimate, it's constitutional for them to want to retain it, but there's a difference between what is constitutional, what is right, and what is right and what is desirable at this moment.
But what is justiciable? I know that will also come in. Which one can you hold on to at the end of the day?
I would rather say whatever will keep the country together. It's where we should go, and not any other talk about you should come to this zone, you should go to that zone. It's purely the politicians and everybody. If he favors your zone this time around with zoning, you will say yes, we should go zoning. If he doesn't favor you, say yes, we want the best candidate to emerge and all that. And it's a story we've heard. The same people campaigning for the best candidate today were the people who campaigned for zoning a few years ago. And the people campaigning for zoning now were the people who were saying something about we let the competent, wherever, from whatever part of the country it comes, there they come. But then there's basic injustice in the system, and we need to fix it. Whatever we fix it, that's where it should go.
You know, you said something quite instructive. Whatever will keep the country together. Is it not good governance that will keep the country together, that will keep the nation? I mean, people would look to government and say, yes, we're getting what we really deserve together in democracy. So is it not good governance we should be talking about here?
It's good governance, but we have to count A before we count B. We've gotten to a situation where it's like when you say good governance, there's no guarantee that you will get that good governance with whoever is coming. So if we've gone the way we have gone, it's just like I was saying, census, if it's good governance, for goodness sake, then we can be talking of good governance. But we can't you can't have it and Ayo will have it and some other person will have it, and when it gets to the other person to have it, you suddenly change the goalposts and start talking something else. Good governance we need, but the good governance, zoning does not remove good governance.
Does it guarantee good governance?
Nothing guarantees good governance. It can, even the best candidate we've had, the most qualified person can come to that place and begin to mess up. Nothing actually guarantees good governance, but at least you can have stability in the country. That which you can control, you control. Then the ones which you can't control, you can leave that to God or to other factors. But that which you can control it.
Well, doesn't that sound like we're giving an excuse for those who are supposed to do a job and don't do it? I understand the element of what you're saying, but it's like we're giving them an excuse to not perform.
No, the truth is that that is not really by way like an excuse, as it were. We have a system that just doesn't work. We have refused to make work. You're guilty, I'm guilty, the society is guilty. We don't hold our elected public officials to account. Instead, we sing their praise to oppress us the more. And if we don't get, like they say, every society gets the type of governance it deserves and stuff. So it's not, we are not giving an excuse. If we want them to do the right thing, there are things that have been put in place to make them do the right thing. But if they are not doing it, then it's not. We are not going to say because the Southeast is asking for it now. I said no. Let's talk about the best candidates. Luckily, the Southeast also has some of the best candidates. So what?
Okay. Clearly, we're just scratching the surface with all of this, and a lot of this is going to happen at the political party levels. But it's understandable. Everybody's interested. They want to see what will come out of this. But take a look at this other story. There's a picture on the front page of The Guardian that shows subscribers waiting for SIM card replacement of blocked lines and to link their NIN. And under that, you see, NIMC server glitch invalidates linked NINs, leaves subscribers stranded. Page 2. Have you had to, hustle to get your NIN and SIM linked or even get registered? Is this something you've gone through as well?
Luckily, I escaped it.
How did you?
No, because I did all that pretty early. So while they were just going, I did the national identification. I'm sure I've had it now for more than 3-4 years, and so. Almost, I think that period was started. So once they started saying link, I just took a few minutes one day and linked mine, and that was just it. And I never had any of my lines blocked.
I wish 70 million Nigerians.
But I think I'm not in support of this call that they should reconnect and all this, and because I have experienced what unregistered lines can do, and. I had that. I came close to it when my wife was kidnapped, and it was a messy thing. You had a number, there was a name, but there was no face, and all those kind of things. The address was not so many loopholes on the number, so you couldn't even trace the number. So, but I think if you didn't get it done, well, unless they're talking about giving them another chance to fix it, but that they should throw those lines back into the system, I'm not for it at all.
So they should actually just remain barred. That's what you think?
They should remain barred.
But what about people that have to do business with this? For some, by the way, they had done it, but they still get messages from the service providers. In fact, take a look at this one. Glitch invalidates linked NINs.
There's a glitch, like you said, but the glitch I had was I want to upgrade my line.
Oh.
And I got, after filling all the forms and doing everything, and they now told me that it's a network issue, that your NIN is not linking up, your NIN is not correct, and this is the NIN I've used for so many other transactions, so many other processes, and it went through. And suddenly you're telling me it's not correct. So there's a network issue. Those are issues that can be, if we have those genuine issues, for goodness sake, we can actually correct them. It's just like this issue of voters register and all that. If you don't have a PVC, there are 1,001 reasons why people wouldn't have PVC, but you can, if you just make out time for it, you will just sacrifice a little, you will get somewhere.
All right. There's so much more on the front page of The Guardian, but hey, we have other papers, so let's leave it there for The Guardian newspaper.
The leadership newspaper is also as concerned about 2023 presidency. And check out what it has on its own front page. Maybe a little different. Citing fairness, Southern Middle Belt leaders make case for Southeast. And then there are two riders. Go and put your house in order. Afenifere tells Igbo politicians. Northern stakeholders warn against pitting North against South. Which of these captions catches you?
Go and put your house in order.
I should have said I saw that coming.
No. For me, like this issue, I've never really been a fan of this issue of zoning, but I believe that for equity, if the presidency is not going to the southeast, it should go to the north central. For whatever reason, yes. The one party will say it's a PDP can say in the north they have only had 2 years of PDP presidency in the north. That is, on the south had the rest and all that. But it's just like when you drive on a road. In Nigeria, you don't want to know whether it's federal road or state road. I was listening to Minister of State for Transport, Bemi Saraki, yesterday or so. I think it was on channel. Said once you drive. This government is not doing anything. You don't want to know if it's federal road or state road. I went to Ekiti the other day. Unfortunately, it was federal road that I traveled on most of it, and the roads were bad. But then, what they say is that these roads are bad. That's the same thing with people. They don't want to know where, how you sorted it out. The important thing is that whether it's APC or PDP, the important thing is that the north has taken it, the south will take it. Once it comes to the south, let's look at southeast. And if it's going to the north, can we be looking at north central and let this thing go round? But then put your house in order. I always say people is that yes, there's a need to some putting of house in order. Like you can't, for instance, be having a Peter Obi, for instance, running for presidency on the PDP. The Southeast has been making us, we want it, and suddenly your 2 PDP governors are John Ketchum with Wike, who is South. You understand all those kind of things. So there's some order that has not, some house putting in order that has not been done there. And there is a lot that the Southeast needs to do, quite all right. But I don't want people over making a fetish of the house not being in order. No house has ever been in order when they got the presidency. If you talk of, like you say, if you talk of violence and killings, the Southeast is not the only place that this is going on. It's almost epidemic in the country now. And yet, people from those zones are not being judged by those violence in their places. And we've had a country where a situation where a zone, an entire zone did not support a candidate, and the rest of the country still made that candidate a president. Obasanjo's first time, for goodness sake. The Southwest didn't want him, but the rest of the country wanted him. And whether it was in order or not, it was made. So all this idea of put your house in order, join the APC ruling party so you can get something, it doesn't make sense. At some point, we also gave the presidency slots to 2 of them to the same zone. We can always do that. Leave it, and the Southeast has people that can do it. Just make up your mind. And I mean, you can pick up somebody from the APC in the Southeast or South or North Central. It's the party structure that we need. It doesn't need his own personal structure to run.
Well, just one more story on the front page of the Leadership newspaper, right above the main story. After PMB's order, security agents go after illegal refiners. This seems some sort of episodic occurrences. You remember it was the governor of River State some time ago going to the trenches himself, looking out for this.
That's one thing you always give to Wike, the governor of River State. Yes, he's in the system. He knows where the dead bodies are buried. He probably knows virtually the people. And the same way Wike knows, I can assure you the security people also know.
By the way, that's an expression, right? He knows where the dead bodies are buried.
Okay. He knows where the skeletons are in the cupboard, and he knows.
Again, is that an expression?
No. Where is an expression?
Just because not everybody receives information the same way.
It's an expression. Now he's in the system. Sometime when the Rivers one was happening, some people say, "Hey, these are Wike's friends. Somebody wants to contest governorship. He knows that he wants to cripple him. He doesn't want him to have funds, and he's going after his business." Goodness, the business was illegal bunkering, illegal refining. There was soot all over Port Harcourt. Those were the contributory factors. So if he went for them, good. So the same way Wike went after them, Hope Uzodinma could have gone after them in his state. Dere could have gone after them in Bayelsa. But the allegations they were all making is that because Wike, that it's happened in my state in Mona, and they are saying, hey, that the people came from Rivers and all that. But the truth is that Wike made Rivers, if it's true, Wike made Rivers uncomfortable for them. So they ran to where they think they can find some kind of solace. If those governors had made their states uncomfortable for them too, we could be talking about an end to this thing. And then the security people is every time it happens they make no. But you remember even while Wike was doing his, they were fingering security persons that were some, including a policeman that said owned one of the illegal refineries and all those. So it's the security people should, let's just be honest, they are not doing almost enough.
But then the headline here says security agents go after illegal refiners. Is that to say that they didn't know they were there before or what? That's the official position, that they didn't know it was there. But the truth is that you can't call yourself a security person and an operation that is that huge is going on in your domain, and you say you don't have an inkling. You have SSS, you have police, you have army, you have, and all that. I mean, come on. They should tell us another story.
Well, speaking of another story, it's on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Well, it's the same story, honestly, with a twist to it. Tinubu, Osinbajo, others on wild goose chase at Ibanjo. Clark, others say it's southeast turn. And I believe we have talked about that this morning, different angles to that particular one. But this one has been trending, not on the front page of the dailies, maybe on Twitter. Elon Musk buys Twitter for $44 billion. So, I mean, if you're watching Sunrise Daily this morning, go on Twitter. Let us know what you think. Use it.
That's same Twitter.
Yes, Elon Musk's tweets now. I mean, what's your thoughts on this?
44 billion USD is a lot of money anywhere in even in heaven. Might be some sizable money. So when they said, when we read that the Twitter board were reluctant and all that, I said, come on.
Everyone has a price.
Come on. But you know, when we're reading James Hardy Chase, there's something they call the whiff of money. The whiff of so I guess, but let's see what he does with it now that he has taken. Let's see what transformations or whatever it's going to bring to it or what.
Because Twitter is a very, very important tool.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the most important social media platforms
yeah.
in the world right now. So I imagine. Well, you know what? The coming days will tell us. Page 2. By the way, there was another angle in the newspaper that talked about Nigeria's deal with Twitter, that how this might affect it. Recall that we had our own issues with Twitter, and government said, well, we have come to an agreement. They're going to register, do this and do that. So will this affect it? Will it not?
Remember when you buy a business, you buy both assets and liabilities. Okay. So I don't think whatever agreement we have with Twitter is threatened. If they renege on it, like Mohammed can as well renege to and ban it again, and we'll be back to square one.
Does it change anything? Does it change anything for you that it's going from public to private?
What? It was always in private of some sorts.
Of sorts?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why it was even sold anyway.
I think Twitter will remain Twitter. It's just some other person will be counting the pennies.
Okay. All right. That's the Nigerian Tribune. This one. By the way, there's that one. It will be injustice if I don't contest Osinbajo. So another angle.
And what was his name? The old man we use in what is it called? This perennial critic of the president, former friend of the president, said both Osinbajo and Tinubu will not get the APC ticket. That was also, let's see. But then, so many people push him, but asking him to run is also fair to acknowledge that so many people out there also think that he's the
right man for the job.
He's the right man for the job. Even if the PDP people will be honest to themselves, for a long time they were scared that if Osinbajo gets that ticket, they'll be in trouble. Unfortunately, the APC, so many things are unraveling. So Osinbajo might not have the kind of support from the APC that he would normally have needed. But then everybody knows that he's a good candidate, and people have been calling for him, and it will be unfair to those people calling for him if he says, I'm not running.
So
but then there's the aspect of the Tinubu.
So you're saying APC should put his house in order too?
APC every day, there's no, if APC were not in order, if their house were in order, they wouldn't be thinking of a Jonathan angle and all those things at this moment. But that's just another.
You think there's a Jonathan angle?
Well, at least we've been reading it and we've been following it.
There you go. There you go.
We've seen all the things going on. And what I said, so it means I can also wake up tomorrow and pick a form. You don't have to be an APC member. Well, they have adjusted their. They've handed they're almost running a caretaker committee, even though they have a chairman now. The NWC has handed its power to some other person, and the chairman, the ESCO has handed.
Oh, the NEC has handed over too.
So it's, I think they might just make a few presidential, or they might give a few presidential orders, and you never can tell. But let's wait and see. The days are pregnant.
Well, Vanguard newspaper has this one on its front page. 2023, Buhari deceiving Jonathan, others. Ascribed to Adebanjo.
Well.
You said well. Okay, check out the writer. Says, Jonathan allowing himself to be disgraced as Clark, Adebanjo, Middlebelt Forum converse Igbo presidents. Igbo have competent patriotic people, ascribed to Clark. Southwest should take the back seat for now, says Pogu. Stories on page 5. What do you make of this?
Personally, I think it is a personal hurt for me that Jonathan is even not decisive on this PDP, on this APC poison. Do I say it's poison chalice or whatever it is? The truth is that we've all known that if he takes that ticket, whatever is left of his of the credibility or profile will be diminished, win or lose, because you can't. If everybody decamps, you that were president of that platform should not decamp. I don't think it's morally correct.
Well, Mr. Nwosu, if there's anything we have seen in politics, it is a fact. But you know what? Let's see what's in Mr. and Mrs., by the way. It seems Mr. needs to put his house in order too. So, I mean, just on a lighter note, right? Mrs. tells Mr., if you're not dating her, why should she call you a good-for-nothing old man? And you walked away without a word. Mr. from a corner in the house says, because you're the only woman who knows I'm good for many things. But if you want me to convince her, no problem.
That was give me the license.
Mr. is always cheeky.
Do you blame Mr.? There's spots on the back page. This is Jesus wary of Real Madrid. Which one? Find out on the back page.
I'm sure it's Man City, Gabriel Jesus.
I was just trying to.
No, it's not a football fan, so you wouldn't call him Jesus or Jesus. There you go. The Daily Trust newspaper is next. I know shots fired this morning.
Yeah.
Take a look at Daily Trust.
Bulletproof on.
Ahead of Salah, airfares skyrocket. Lagos to Sokoto now. What? 120,000 naira. Operators cite demand and supply forces. Only tax relief will reduce pressure, experts say. This is coming on the back of the airlines having issues already with pricing. So is this any surprising?
No, not really, because as far back as 2 months ago, almost 2 months ago, we had to fly from Yola to Lagos. We're getting tickets for about 80,000, 70-something thousand. So
it's a one-way or return ticket?
One-way ticket, one-way, not return tickets. Incidentally, a few weeks earlier, the return ticket was 70-something thousand. And while getting there, and we needed to move abruptly, the one-way ticket now became 80-something thousand.
A two-way ticket.
So but it's painful that we're still talking about the aviation, all kinds of costs. But we all know all over the world the margins for aviation business are very little. But then the situations are made worse. The situation is made worse in Nigeria by so many other unrelated issues.
There's this one on top of the nameplate as well. Imo residents fear epidemic as mass burial fails to hold. That, I mean, the story that came out of Imo State over the weekend, very sad one.
Very sad, very sad.
The aftermath of it.
Over 100.
Essentially. And just one more. 18 firms shortlisted to toll Abuja, Lokoja, 11 other roads. So it looks like that's the way forward now. It's Daily Trust newspaper for you.
Yeah.
Daily Independent newspaper has this as its lead story today. 2023 presidential election. I'll betray Nigerians if I don't contest, subscribe to Osinbajo, the vice president. Little has been said about that already. Well, right under the picture on the front page, telecom sector's GDP growth rate faces decline. Well, in a time when technology seems to be the go-to along with other better doing sectors of the economy, what do you make of this?
But everything is going down south now. Everything is going south. So it's telecom. It's not just enough to say telecom, yeah, it can grow, but then what it boils down to is your purchasing power as an individual. You, instead of you can't be having a problem putting food on your table, and you cut down on so many other things. If you're a heavy data user, you cut down a little bit, and it's almost follows. Those are, yes, it's one of the light, do I say, bright spots in the economy, but then it's just that when things are going the way they are going with our economy, it's only a matter of time before it affects everything, because even the telecom sector does not exist in isolation.
But the NGX is not going down south. I mean, banks are still raking in their profits quite well, and a lot of other sectors.
And they use the telecom sector themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Because they make a lot of money from the telecom sector.
No, but also, mind you, I don't want to pick on Nigerian banks, but if you audit those profits, you and I, the kind of charges you are, is almost like gunpoint thing. That
no, it's just to contextualize the things that go. I mean, if we get deep inside this one, we'll have to look into the books this morning, and that will take a while.
Just one more story on the front page of the Daily Independent. PDB women plots winning strategy ahead of 2023.
I like that.
I was watching. I got just a little bit of it. Yesterday when I was watching Chief Mrs. Johnson and Annie charging them, go and look for money. It's money that is it. 35% is not a magic wand and all that. Go and look for money. And people were saying the same story, the same narrative we've heard over and over. So many women voters coming out and not voting for women and all that. So I don't know how we're going to get around it. I think, like I said, let's begin with genuinely implementing the 35 or 30%, whatever. You start from there, then gradually we'll pick up. But I just don't know what is wrong with our society we just hardly look the way. But there are a few women. At the risk of mentioning names, there are some women that are very strong. You look at somebody like that, those Anambra has 3 senators, 2 are women, and very strong women on ground in terms of when you go to the state, to their base and all that. They are very strong. I don't know what we get past that. There was this lady that I always feel sad about that we lost, Mama Taraba, what was the woman from Taraba? That was another strong one. You understand? We get them like that once in a while, but then on the average, like I said, even the women will not vote for women. So what are we talking about?
Women, is that true? Let us know. I mean, go to Elon Musk's tweet. I mean, Twitter. Let us know, really, because I think that's what has been said a lot. Women hardly vote for women, and it beats my mind why that is the case. But take a look at Nigerian News Direct, Mr. Nwosu. FG records 2.3 trillion naira fiscal deficit. That's according to the CBN. Says growth outlook positive, but fragile as PIA implementation begins in oil, gas sector. So, I mean, that pays attention to the economy, which of course feeds literally everything. So it's a very important story. It's on page 14 of the Nigerian News Direct. Let me just end with this one. Okay, I'll take two. 2023, I'll be president for all. Amechi assures Deji of Akure, Ondo APC. That's just right on top of the nameplate. And finally, 15% levy. Customs agents shelve planned industrial action. That had been brewing for a while.
I like the way you called it Deji. That is the pronunciation. Most of us will call it Deji. Deji. As he called it, I say, yeah, that's the way it's called.
He is an uncle on Channels T.
Okay, is this like a conspiracy against me? It's good conspiracy anyway. But anyway, that's what you find on front page of Nigerian News Direct. Let's leave it there. And, well, it's been an interesting conversation with you, Mr. Stephen Nwosu, the Managing Director and Editor-in-Chief of the Nigerian Express. Thank you for your incisive comments.
Nice being here. Thanks, you guys.
All right. So have a great day. Look forward to seeing you again.
I sure will.
All right.
Okay.
So there you go. Look at the dailies this morning. Different stories. I'm sure a lot of them piqued your interest. But we'll go on a break now. And when we return, we'll pay attention to one of the stories. Really sad one. We don't want this to happen again. But how do we shelve that? That's what we'll be discussing in a moment. So please join us again.